Now let us consider cloud migration. Now, cloud migration is the process of moving a company's assets, whether it could be some uh, services or software or databases, whatever it would be, completely or partially onto the cloud. Cloud migration might also mean that we move from one cloud to the other cloud. There are various strategies that the organizations adopt when they move their applications to the cloud. So, the first strategy is rehosting. Now, rehosting simply means that whatever is the data and the application that was deployed on on-premises hardware, I redeploy it onto the cloud without making any changes to the existing code. So now this is very simple to do, and here it does not require any modification to the code. The next one is refactor. Now under refactor, I tweak the code so that it is optimized for a cloud environment. Now this is mostly used when it is platform as a service model. Here the underlying architecture remains unchanged, but only some adjustments are made. The next is revising. Now revising includes that I make major changes to the architecture or the or the code, and then I move the application to the cloud. So this might require some planning and some knowledge so that the application can be built. The next approach is rebuilding. Now, in rebuilding, I discard everything that is already built and I again build it from the scratch. So now that is rebuilding. It takes a lot of time and lot of planning. And the last one is replace. Now, under replace, I discard the existing solution and I look for any other alternative, any other third party pre-built solution which can be deployed onto the cloud. So now I only migrate the data, and the code or or the existing application is discarded and I look for some other new application. So now these are the various strategies that the organization can adopt. The various steps for moving from on premises work to the cloud involve. First one is to establish goals. See, when it comes to moving to the cloud, when it comes to cloud migration, we need to decide upon various factors. We need to decide, like, what are the applications that we are going to move, what strategy is going to be adopted, what security strategy is to be adopted, what business value will be added if I move on to the cloud, and um, if there are any apps which are dependent upon each other. How about the data? What data is going to be moved? How will I ensure security when I move the data from uh, when I migrate it to the cloud? So these are the various points which we need to decide upon a plan and then start the work to for cloud migration. The next important step is to create a security strategy. See, one important challenge in cloud computing is always security. So, this security has to be in place so that no major disruptions happen and there is no security breach. The third step is to move the data first. Now, I replicate the existing databases, and so the database remains up to date, and I decide what has to be moved, where it has to be moved, when it has to be moved, and I also assess the risk that is involved. Risk assessment is a very important step when it comes to managing cloud migration, because there can be security breaches, and there can be downtime. So there are various issues that need to be handled. Sometimes there might be applications dependent upon each other. So there are various uh, problems, or there can be various issues that can arise during cloud migration. Assessing risk helps me to understand how important is which step, and how focused should I be on doing it. So now one way to migrate data is through internet, or the other way is by copying the data to a physical device, let's say a pen drive or something, and then physically shipping the data to the cloud service provider, who will then upload it to the cloud. The next fourth step is to move the business intelligence. In the previous step, I moved the data, and in this step, I moved the business intelligence. So now this can involve some rewriting of the code, and for there are various cloud migration tools also which help me to do all these things. I need to understand which are the applications that I move as it is, which applications will need some changes, and if I need to change the underlying architecture, all these things need to be decided and managed upon. So, and the last one is the cloud goes live. So finally, with moving the data and then moving the business intelligence, the cloud goes live. Some businesses might turn off their on premises infrastructure when all these things are going on. Some might want to run and might want to keep both in place initially, to understand that how the cloud system is working and there is no downtime at all. So there are various ways in which the organizations move from on premises to cloud. So these are the 5 steps: establish the goals, create the security strategy, copy the data, move the business intelligence, and the next is to switch the production finally from on premises to cloud. Thank you.